Hey, come on in. Leave your questions outside. No more questions.
If this thing stops for whatever reason, sometimes there's a little something comes up, just turn it off. It will be, yeah, you'll see it, the little message box. Oh.
So is everyone here that's here? Yeah. So when I was listening to that, I really,
And the audio is working.
oh great. So you ever see those videos where, you know, they take it, you're in a scene and it's right there, and then the camera keeps lifting back and back and back. So you see something, you see the same thing in a way, but in a much different perspective as distance is produced. Well, that's what we're like in a way, but without the geographical distance. Yeah. So you can be, there's no needing to pull back physically. Yeah. There's a pulling back. So your aperture, you entertain. Mind is obviously big M mind now. Yeah. And then appearing through, let's say, little mind or mental processes. It's entertaining all of these possibilities, that there's a real world, that there's separation, that I'm this and you're that. And in this sense of separation, a lot of things become possible that are impossible, yeah? Like they're your thoughts and they're this, you know, like you own the product of processes you have no control over, yeah? So in some weird way, you become the owner. It's like, you know, coming here and saying, hey, I gotta take an early break. I gotta finish digesting that burrito I started yesterday. You know, I forgot about it, and then the pizza is there. And basically you'd be spending all day digesting the food as if you were doing it, yeah? Or pumping the blood or beating the heart. If it was up to you, you would have never made it after 2 seconds, yeah? Because you'd be distracted and then you'd be dead. But then these subtler processes like feeling and thinking and stuff like that, you and I, there's an assumption that somehow we're before it and doing it, you know? We have some say in the matter. That's a very low aperture, yeah? I mean, you're right in it. Like you're in this thing where it's almost like you're in a consequential level and you only know something's happening after it hits you, so to speak. You have no forewarning, there's no far-sightedness, you're not even following any principles or anything, you're just sort of randomly getting knocked around, you know, saying this is the cause, that's the cause, the fucking person did it, the meter maid did it, whatever, yeah? And then you can't have, you're not going to take yourself up into space to see it differently, but there's no need for the physical thing to move. The mind moves, in a sense. The mind opens up. So the mind here, let's say here, it's in the hallway of shit and fans, yeah? It's got to find a good strategy to make it through a day without stepping on too many toes or having stepped on or whatever. So it's all strategy of surviving like the obstacle course, in a sense. But then if it lifts up, the mind lifts up, it's a different ballgame. So this is what a message that has any real value does. It allows, the mind entertains it, and the apertures that you're seeing through, and I don't mean eyes, I mean seeing, you know, mind, get wider, bigger, and it's almost like a panoramic picture instead of a still picture. So you see a whole lot more. But you didn't have to move to a mountaintop or, you know, fucking take a vow of silence. That could happen. It's just, you're still in the same appearance on the same street in the same relationships, but something it's different, yeah? To the point where this is seen. So the apertures, because most apertures, the head that thinks it's controlling it will not go past this default this aperture. It says, oh, I'm having all the realizations. I'm having incredible spiritual experiences. I'm in a state of bliss and this and that, but it's still you, yeah, as the whole camera. Yeah? But this message, in my own sense of it, opened up, and what happens, you get captured as if not only lifting from the scene in the street, you're still in the scene in the street. Yeah, you're not like this, you're there still, but that you're seen as the scene in the street. You don't lift up, yeah? You see it almost like if you ever had an out-of-body experience, you saw your body, yeah? That's an out-of-body experience. You're lifted above something, and then you see you in the situation, but you're not of the situation. Yeah, well, no, this is what happens. It doesn't look like you went up into the sky, but the mind opened up the sky, yeah? Things are seen differently, obviously. If something's like this up to your face, it's seen much differently if it's there, yeah? If thoughts, and what brings the thoughts and the feelings and the actions to such a point to be so close to supposedly you that they can bind you, they can obscure you, is the idea of my, yeah? So the thoughts, when they're held as my thoughts, they're right here. You got your own little thought ranch, and they're all branded yours. And these are you feed it, you fucking groom it, yes. And then there's the my feeling ranch, and definitely the most convincing is the my actions ranch, yeah. So now, the obscuring agent is not actions, thoughts, feelings. The obscuring agent is the sense they're my actions, thoughts, and feelings, yeah. So the my is what produces claustrophobicness. I see it in recovery where people, the basis of addiction is usually a strong obsession with self, yeah? You're obsessed with the idea of you, yeah? And you have a lot of fucking beliefs about it, and what's the problem is you're believing the beliefs quite a lot. So you do service or something, and what happens sometimes is you pop through this obscuration, yeah? This obscuring, it's sort of like saran wrap. If you got your head wrapped around with saran wrap, just one thing would look pretty clear. It'd be almost like looking through a clear sunglasses. But after like 8 of them, it's getting thicker. You can say you're still seeing, but it's very obscured, yeah? You're not taking a good picture of what's happening. There's an obscuring. Now you can't see the obscuring because it's clear, but there's 30 layers. So now your vision is obscured. So you're just basically going on hearsay. Oh, I think that's happening. Oh, yeah, that did happen. So all like that. Yes? What would happen if that thing that has seemed to have wound around unwinded in time, you know, as some kind, that's why people say, is there deepening and awakening? No, but there's an appearance of deepening here because there's time, yeah? So in time, it may look like something's deepening. Is it really deepening? No, but this is an interpretive translator, so it makes everything a movie in a sense. So yes, the spirit is deepening, and it's wider and deeper, and I drown in it every day. You know, you can write poems like the Sufis do and everything. It's beautiful in a way. Why not? This is a descripted piece of art living here. Okay, so here's the saran wrap. Yeah. So all right, it unwinds. How? Maybe there's an entertaining of some new possibilities. Yeah. And you start questioning the my. Yeah. You start going, wait a minute. And this happened with me, just purely observation, going to recovery meetings. When I came into recovery, I could really feelize the sense of terminal, I could feel it. It was so thick, this sense of terminal uniqueness. I was in a state, totally fabricated, that I didn't believe anyone thought like I did. Seriously, I mean, really believed it. Didn't believe anyone felt like I did. I definitely didn't believe people did the same shit I did. I think I had done certain things that almost no one could possibly have ever done to another person, right? So I'm in that state, seemingly. A lot of saran wrap, you know, just not seeing fucking anything, really. And I listened, though, to people. And after a few months, I came to 2 conclusions. How did these people get my thoughts, or they're not my thoughts? Because they sure sounded like me, They sort of, when they were explaining how they felt, it sounded like how I feel, and they did a lot of the similar shit that I did. And they may have come from a different neighborhood, a different country, a different state, wherever, but we were quite similar. It's sort of like a rude awakening when the pace car for the Indianapolis 500 finds out it's a Ford, and it's in a fucking whole fleet of Fords. And it smells like a Ford, it drives like a Ford, it turns like a Ford, it's a Ford, you know? So what happened then, when that it's like a huge wall that doesn't have any bricks. It's just all a sense, yeah? There's no owner, there's ownership, yeah? There's claiming, but there's no claimer. There's having, but there is no haver. And there's losing, but there is no loser. Yeah? So that activity, that assumption generates in language the word my to me in English. So now thoughts are held as mine in most cases. They're either about me or I'm the thinking of them, basically. I can be object to thoughts, or I can be the thinker of the thoughts. But it's a dualistic, those are the two options, basically, yeah? Yeah? I can be haver of the feeling, or those feelings were inflicted upon me by someone else. All right? So, the my weakens, what happens? Saran wrap unwinds, because it's not locked in place. It's you. You're spinning like the cotton candy, yeah? When the spinner stops, the cotton candy mists away and it just sort of dissipates. But you're in an activity, selfing is working very hard to keep wrapping the saran around the fucking super high definition, incredible, ultra fucking unbelievable Nike, and then actually making it pretty much useless like a brownie camera, like a cheap $10 fucking container camera. So the saran wrap is constantly being applied. And what happens is, being identified with the mental states, we become complacent, we take it, basically, yeah? We adapt. So we adapt now with a blindness, and then we walk around with all these other blind camera locations, and basically, we take this to be the norm. But what happens when it unravels, and it has nothing to do with you unraveling it, because one of the biggest, thickest layers of saran wrap is you trying to remove the saran wrap, because you're the saran wrap box. You're where all the rolls of the saran wrap are coming up from. So the saran wrap isn't going to unwind the saran wrap. Get it through your head, literally. If it's spirituality you're into or whatever, the failed system is not going to get you out of the failed system. Or as Einstein said, what's producing the problem cannot produce a solution to it. It's just fucking science. It's just the way it is. All right, so now the why gets weakened. We're not talking about huge awakening in the Tibetan cave. We're talking about observation. Just, you're awake. We're all awake. All right, so now the saran wrap loosens. What happens? You're on to something, yes? All right, so you see the mind. Maybe it was first in thoughts. Maybe it's thoughts and feelings. Maybe it gets to actions, which is really because you won't get convicted in court for thoughts, but you will for actions. So the greatest agreement here is action, yeah? People don't, your intentions don't mean shit. It's what you do. The doing is the big convincer here. And in all the talks I've ever done, when people start getting really uncomfortable is when you bring up the personal doership idea. Because that's like no. I know I fucking tied my shoes today. I know I made that coffee for my wife. I know I've been supporting the family. It's on and on. So there's a lot of, the system will rise up in defense. It may go, okay, I'm not the thinker. Maybe I'm not, but the doer, and every court in the world, there's no court that has accepted the precedence of non-duality for you to be unconvicted for like a murder. Yeah, there was no person, and there's no me that killed them. You're going to jail. Maybe to the asylum for a while, then jail when you come back to your senses. So the saran wrap unwrapping. So what happens when the saran wrap unwraps? What becomes obvious? That there was saran wrap. You didn't know there was saran wrap, but when the saran wrap starts being unwound, you know there was saran wrap. That's the whole point of knowledge. Knowledge is like reverse engineering. When you get a download, it tells you why you weren't open to the download. Yeah? That's what it does. Everyone, if I looked at a seamless logic of what's happening with me with information, all the downloads that have happened have explained why they weren't readily available before. It's always pointing to what was obscuring the possibility that suddenly has become a possibility. That's what the possibility brings you. It tells you what was limiting possibility. And you're always at the end of the sentence. It's not you as Paul, it's the activity of you that's being used to obscure what you are. Yeah. So how's one to get out of you as that you? That's the incredible thing. And we have methodologies that have 5,000 years behind them. And, they have stories that certain people used those methodologies maybe 1,000 years ago. And they seem to have escaped the slings and arrows of this place. So we go, okay, I believe that. I don't believe that anyone right now is getting out of it, but they got out of it, she got out of it. All right, so let's practice those things that we believe they were doing. Every religion anyone's following, the supposed founder of the religion never started the religion. So obviously you've got to see something's up. But maybe not, maybe not. So so maybe, just maybe, systems can work. Like you can find a mechanical master and get your car fixed. You can find a fucking chef and get incredible food. You can find a tailor and get your clothes all tailored perfectly for your lovely physique. You can probably do all that, but you can't find you. Yeah. Because there's a big speed bump you're never going to get over, and that is you're you. You are that. So you can't use that which you are to find that which you are. I mean, how much does it have to be like a 30-day symposium? It's so simple. Just let it whack you a few times. You can't use what you are to find what you are. You can use what you are to find anything else. Anything. But you can't find what you are to find what you are. And when you hear this, if it resonates with you, it's probably informing you that is what's been happening. Because the bell only goes off if that is what's been happening. If the shoe fits, the message worked, basically. Really. So if you hear the message and it goes, what? Yes, you're ripe. There's no need to get ripe. You're as ripe as you're ever going to be. Because you've heard about what you, quote unquote, do. And you realize maybe there isn't a you that's doing it, yeah? So now the saran wrap goes, woo! And then, this is the trippy thing, then the saran wrap may come back, but you see right through it. See, that's the difference. The saran wrap doesn't have the ability to obscure it anymore. Though the saran wrap appears, the mental state keeps yapping. As the mental state is not going to stop talking about you as a body. It's not. Its whole basis is you're a body. Now you can be a spiritual body, a physical body, but it's a body. Everything's framed in the body. All the narration equipment, and then what backs up the narration equipment, sort of like what would back up an audio system, is all based on a body. Yeah. You're thought about as a body, you are remembered as a body, you perceive bodies. Yeah. So basically, the camera has that source code of body. Yeah. Now that's why you're never going to get a picture of what you are by the camera, because it doesn't see what's happening. It really doesn't. It sees what it thinks is happening. It doesn't see what's happening. So especially if that which is happening is always happening, you'll never fucking see it. Because we usually can see something if we thought it was gone and came back. We can never recognize what's always here. It's just like the fish. The fish probably doesn't know it's wet because it's wet all the time. Yeah? It only has a huge rude awakening if it's caught and falls on a deck of a boat. Then you see its reaction of being dry. It fucking flips out completely. But while it's in the thing, it probably has no idea it's wet. But it sorely misses it when it hits the dock, the dock. So, Saran Wrap may come back, but who cares? It's not you. You see? That's the point. See, you would love to have super clear vision. What you are doesn't give a shit. It will look through any pair of sunglasses. It doesn't matter. Rosy ones, almond color projection, Sierra sunset projection, yellow. It doesn't care. Yeah, because has nothing to do with any of it. Yeah, it's like the sky. When has the sky closed itself to a certain fucking airline? No Aer Lingus. No Aer Lingus. I don't like Aer Lingus policy. Can't get. No, the sky is open naturally. It's its nature, open and available, and its nature also is untouched by what's appearing in it. Yeah. Has the sky itself, the space, they can't fucking put a billboard on it yet. They may, but they can't get the fucking legs high enough they like to project one, but it dissipates too fast. So the sky allows anything to happen in it. Doesn't seem to have any opinions about it because there's no volition. It's not saying yay and nay. It's just available. And everything that happens in it, and I mean everything, leaves absolutely no effect on it. What do you think that's here for? What do you think Tibetan Buddhists in the Dzogchen tradition lay down on this ground and look up at a clear sky? Because it gives you a sense of what your real nature is like. Very, very fucking wide open and empty. Yeah? Not as the body, but as what we are. Yeah. So that you can go, oh, wait a minute, It's like showing, let's say someone has amnesia and forgot their home. Maybe they're from Poland, yeah? So then the doctor starts showing pictures of Poland. And suddenly he's out cold, he's drooling, and then he goes, ooh, ooh. He starts coming to. He remembers, fucking, I was there. Well, this is even more obvious because it's never I'm there, I'm here, basically. You don't get a hit. I'm there. I was there. I'm here. That's the hit. Yeah? And then when you get the hit, I'm here, it tells you you've always been here. Yeah? So when the sky gets a hit that it's the sky, it doesn't go, oh, I was once the sky. Or maybe if I work really hard, I can become a sky. I'm sky. Yeah? And suddenly all the qualities that you were attributing to sky, they're there. Yeah? Like that. They weren't acquired, or they don't come back slowly like, come Biff, come back. That empty, no, it's just there, like that. You know how long it takes to build up the story in you because it's totally fabricated? Time. Timelessness, there's no fucking story, there's no need for time to fabricate anything. What is what is. That's that, yeah? You don't believe you have a quality of that? Of course you do. Even in this little fucking low aperture, let's say, consequential level, the sky is all there. Nothing has gone. Whatever you believe could exile you from your own nature is totally made up on the fucking false reference side. That which we are does not, you don't have to fulfill a questionnaire to enter it. Yeah? It's sort of like, wait a minute. Like St. Francis says, what's looking is what you're looking for. Pretty direct. It's not like what's looking and then 50 pages of requirements you have to fulfill to become the you that you're looking for. What's looking is what you're looking for. That's that. That's the message. Yeah. I don't know how direct. It can't be more than direct than that. Yeah? You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Duh. Yeah, of course. Now the whole point is, why aren't we getting that? Because there's a strong identification with something that is not the Buddha. So the message, the hardest part about the message is if it's going to get delivered to the person who really lives in the house. Yeah, that's the whole point. And I've known over years of delivering this message that is pointless to talk to you about it. Doesn't go anywhere. It goes somewhere, but doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, I throw it over your head, really, with the hopes that what's everywhere gets it. Because then, if Steve hears about the Buddha not being able to use to seek the Buddha, it just confuses Steve completely. Yeah. If the Buddha hears the message, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. That goes somewhere. Yeah. If Steve hears it, it may not go anywhere. That's why there's so many repetitions, because what happens is you throw the ball and suddenly Steve's mitt jumps up and catches it. Yeah. So yeah, my first video I ever did was the lion and the sheep little analogy, was the story. And it's still sound, yeah, where there's that lion and there's a mother lion and they're just young lion roaming around, you know, killing here, killing there. And then something kills the mother lion, so now the young lion's orphaned. The young lion really doesn't know what it is, it's a little bit confused, so it's roaming around, it's hungry, it sees this flock of sheep, and it starts moving towards the sheep. Now the sheep see it as a lion, so they're a little bit fucking afraid, but the lion doesn't even know it's a lion. So then he gets ingratiated into the sheep flock, and you know, he's chewing cud, which isn't really working that well. And he's listening to everyone bitch about who's going to be the next sweater this year, and you know, fucking bah, bah, bah. But he doesn't know any better, so he's trying to adapt the best he can. And all the other sheep are just saying, you're a sheep, you know. And he gets a sheep girlfriend, and they have sheep babies that look a little strange, but they just fucking rationalize that, you know. So abnormal pre-birth disease. And he tries to live the best he can as a fucking sheep, not knowing any better. Then one day a big lion comes into the savannah, sees the herd, the flock, starts chasing them. He sees this young lion out of the corner of his eye. And he's going, oh, the young lion's joining me in the hunt. But he realizes the young lion's running with the sheep. So he gets a little curious, so he veers off and grabs the young lion. He rolls it over. The young lion goes, please, Mr. Lion, don't eat me. I'm a humble sheep. Now the old lion's very perplexed, doesn't say anything, grabs the young lion, drags it to the waterhole, and just sticks both of their heads over onto the water. They see their reflections, and then the young lion roars. Yeah, he doesn't have to take roaring lessons anymore. He doesn't give a shit about sweaters. He doesn't care about, you know, curling his hair. All that fucking thing goes right out the window. It's a lion. And when it hits that it's a lion, it also hits he's always been a lion. In other words, no matter how much he believed and lived as if it was a sheep, he hadn't turned into a sheep. Nor, if he lived longer as a sheep, would he turn into a sheep. Yeah? And if he lived super long as a sheep, he still wouldn't turn into a sheep. Basically, it's a lion, all right? That's how quick the message can be. This is the dilemma about sharing the message. You need to be an ear doctor, because what's more important about sharing the message is how it's heard, yeah? And then I saw, and then I looked at writings from other teachers, and I felt like, wow, yeah, I'm onto something. I saw, and it became, I haven't spoke about anything else after that, I saw that there's an activity happening rooted in the mental state, or represented there. I don't know where it comes from, I don't care. But there is an activity that has us pictured as a body, and it reinforces that picture by constantly claiming what's ever happening to be the one it's happening to, or what's ever being done to be the one that's doing it, yeah? And it's fast, very fast. It arises in time so quickly. In time, looking at it, I believe fervently that there's no process in time that could get you or outdraw that process. So if I do a lot of meditation, it will still imply there's a meditator, yeah? Because it will beat whatever punch is thrown by the process you're doing, it will beat that punch because it's a prior process. And the process that it entails is that it claims to be the doer of all the other processes. Whatever you think you're doing After that, it has claimed to be the doer of it. So you can't get out of the doer through doing, obviously. You look at it. You look at your own life. You don't need to have a giant 800,000 person experiment. You're enough. Like Buddha supposedly said, he looked into his own laboratory and everything was revealed. So you're enough. You just see it because you're not a personal independent thing. You're a typical Ford driving around thinking you're a Cadillac. And every Ford thinks it's another fucking, it's never another Ford. They think they're a fucking Lamborghini or Ferrari, or they could be a Ferrari, they should be, on and on and on and on. So suddenly, you can see it. You can see, because it goes, what happens is when the seeing does occur, it informs you, you know, all those years that you thought you were the practitioner of all this spirituality, and there was a certain intent underneath it all that you were hoping to get out of something or arrive somewhere that was at least going to be different than where you were, or why would you be so motivated to do all this shit? Because not too many people naturally want to sit 13 hours on their ass. They don't, because it hurts. You ask, especially if you're thin. You know, the bone, the fucking ass bone hurts when you take a 5-hour flight on a plane. You're not going to, oh yeah, I want to sit for 13 hours fucking and not eat too much. And, you know, no. And then just watch the head go crazy. It's not fun. But you feel like you've got to do something to break through the obscuration. I've got to break through. But the thing is, it's the obscuring agent that's trying to break through the obscuring agent. When those two marry, what do you get? Obscuration. That's what you get. You know? So there's these cryptic little statements in Zen. Hey, Faith Mind, a famous Zen treatise. He goes, and this is one translation, they have other ones, but I like this one. It says, hey, you, Paul, you, Jim, actually you, Buddha, you can't use activity to produce stillness. That would be activity. Yeah? So my wanting to clear out the obscuration is part of the obscuration. How is one going to get out of that? So, just like I think the third patriarch on Zen said, this guy who wrote, he was going to become the new patriarch because he had this incredible take. He says, yes, what we do with Zen is polish the surface of the mirror. And then the guy who was working in the kitchen and had just run away gave another thesis, fuck that, there is no mirror, there's no polish in anything. And then the old patriarch found him out in the woods and gave him the bowl and shit and made him the third patriarch of Zen. Yeah? So basically, what's one to do if everything I do could be used or claimed to reinforce that which I like to unreinforce? Yeah? That's what I believe you arrive at in spirituality, or you can start at. Yeah? It's just like a lot of people in recovery. In the early days, there was a very low bottom. I mean, people had to lose everything. And if you walked in the room in the 40s and had a watch, they'd tell you to go back out and drink. You're not ready, you know? You'd have to be totally fucked, and then you'd be open to maybe following a new way of life and get sober. But the main purpose, one of them of AA, was to raise the bottom so others who followed wouldn't have to go through fucking 40 years of hell to maybe have a break. Maybe they could learn from others, or if you presented a certain way, they could get off the bus earlier, which is a cool idea. This is the same point with this message. If you're banging your head against the wall, and you never look at the wall, but you keep blaming yourself, yeah? Let's look farther than that and see that maybe the systems we're applying for this one topic do not work. Because, again, you're trying to find yourself through yourself. You're trying to use yourself to find yourself. Obviously. If you were going to fix a tool, you couldn't use the broken tool to fix the tool. It was obviously, you'd have to get a different wrench. You couldn't, oh, the wrench is fucking broken. Let me fix it with the wrench that's broken. Obviously, no. You had to get another, and then you fix it. I don't know, it's so weird. And the funny thing is, if you've entertained it, I think it's normal. I mean, this view, if you want to call it a view on one level, is the most normalest thing to me. So when I try to share it matter-of-factly. Because I think, what's the big deal? You don't even have to take a step. You're there already. I mean, all you got to see is what you're not. And it's evident. I'm perceiving what I'm not all day. It's not like I got to perceive what I'm not, and it's this mystery fucking shadow ghost that's fucking, laying black turds on me. And boy, where's that coming from? No. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Whatever can be perceived, hey, I'm perceiving. You're perceiving thoughts, you're hearing them, yes? They can't be. They're not. The thoughts aren't perceiving. You're not perceiving. I'm not perceiving as this. Whatever can be perceived, if you can see it, hear it, feel it, taste it, touch it, ain't in it. It's not the one that's doing the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. So, if this I can see, hear, feel, taste, and touch, that excludes it from being the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, the tasting, the touching. That's basically, he's trying to save us a lot of time. Yeah? So to me, the messages are just something, hey, you seem to be hot, you're dry, let's just let the water, pour some water over you. Don't fucking cover up. You wanted it to soak in, you want to feel cool, you don't put your finger in the cold shower, get in the cold shower. Pour it on and see what happens. Yeah? If you start traveling lighter, just entertaining these possibilities, why call off the dogs? Fucking let them go. Yeah? And you'll see your head, oh, that's enough. There's a point where I know I'm going to have to start practicing again. Fuck that. It may not be your seat assignment. Maybe it is. I don't know. But for me, it isn't. Your head says, okay, it's all right. You've been off long enough. Get back on it. Fucking make this better. Got to make it an extreme non-duality. No, you just sort of, it hits you, and to me, it just fucking stuns you. It stuns the whole fucking mental activity when it hears the truth. It does. It just goes, and in that pause, the whole settings can be changed, the direction can be changed, the you wanting to get a ticket for that fucking journey can be canceled. A lot can happen. Yeah, just a little. And it's not happened by any movement. It stopped. Everything stops. That's when everything really changes. So, yeah. I'm hoping this message has that ability for us. It happened with me, so I humbly have faith in it that you don't need to hear a lot. You don't. All you need to do is hear. And we all have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. We do. And what an incredible maintenance program. You come to a satsang every once in a while. People who know me back home, some of them are on a 5-year plan. They come to satsang once every 5 years. Seriously. They send me a card for Christmas, that's it. Or they leave a message on my machine, or they drive by. They don't even come in. Hey, what? Some people meet us after coffee. They got their priorities right. They know the action figure wants to belong. They don't want to hear the message, so they come to coffee. Yeah, who knows? I'm not giving you any ideas, though. But hey, some people really enjoy the space, so they come. But I'm telling you, their spiritual budget is pretty low. No more books, no more this, no more that. They're pretty available for their own lives now. They're not preparing to be available. They're not getting to be available. They're available. The idea of becoming is fucking lost its interest in this nature and their being. Yeah? And in that being, there's a sense of acceptance of all the other shit that's appearing, which is mostly you, the you that you're not. Yeah? And I'll tell you, the greatest medicine this can receive, the greatest moisturizer, the greatest balm, the greatest affirmation is acceptance. Yeah? When the mental fucking hen gets off this fucking egg of its own, this little golden egg, the egg is much, much better off for it. Yeah? It can really enjoy a Saturday. It can enjoy a brunch. It can enjoy a coffee. It can enjoy an espresso and gelato and enjoy whatever. You have the ability to enjoy, like this music today. I mean, I felt like it was coming from Atlantis, you know, like a cafe in Atlantis. I love it. I love that sound. I would like to have that backdrop for my old life, you know, which is cool. I like it. It's like Atlantis, beautiful, and you're totally available for it. You don't have to have 4 hours of it. 5 minutes. You're like about 4,000 feet in the ocean. You know, you're like free dive. You know, you don't have to put weights on, drop. You just drop right there. You're just completely there. You know, that's a miracle, really, in this place. Because in this place, what we think needs or has to or want to happen sure looks like it always has to take fucking time. Yeah. To be available doesn't take any time at all, because it's our nature, like sky. I don't see why we're trying to make it a heroic event just to be here, when it's the most obvious fact of all. You're seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching right now with no fucking volition. You're not at the controls. You're not even close to the spigot. Yeah? Yet, there's this assumption that you're going to improve the consciousness that's moving through you. That's a little arrogant to me. Just see what you're not. Yeah? The clarity doesn't get developed. The clarity is. Your reception to clarity may seem to get developed. You may become clearer, but the clarity doesn't become clearer. Just like a guy got in touch with me, and he's trying to tell me that I have to, you have more seeing than I do. No, I just said I see more. There's no more, I have no more seeing than you, but maybe right at this moment I'm seeing more. That's basically it, you know, because he's trying to pin it on me once again. Yes, you're seeing more. No, I'm fucking not seeing more. I mean, I'm seeing it. There's not more seeing, I'm seeing more. Yes. Yeah. Obviously, how can you not? Take these little statements. If there was confusion, really, and you asked me to give you eight little touchstones. Let's see if I can remember some. Whatever can be perceived cannot be perceived. Just sit with it for a second. It clears up a lot of fucking mistakes, yeah? Cannot use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Yes, obviously. What's looking is what you're looking for. We've been using that St. Francis thing since the beginning of Zangvichla. What's looking is what you're looking for. Just, you know, just have it on a page and paint other things around it. But no, you don't have to have a commentary under it. Just find out, let it go in there and see what it triggers, okay? You and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. We forget that we're dreaming. And in that condition, we give everything we're dreaming to the power to affect us. I bet you, if you were a mind doctor and you had 500 million people come into your office that day, that would be a pretty close diagnosis of all of us as what's actually happening here. You and I are dreaming, not as the dreamt. See, this is the dilemma. You now start thinking, oh, I'm dreaming. No, you're the dreamt. This is dreamt. The dreaming is what can't be perceived. The dreamt is what can be perceived. It can still be the dreaming, but you're not going to meet the dreaming as the dreamt. Yes? So you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that we're dreaming. Now, a lot of people hear statements and then they just take it at face value. I like to look into it, yes. So I was open to, hey, what's the mechanism that could allow dreaming to forget that it's dreaming? I think that's a pretty amazing condition, yeah? Dreaming can seemingly forget that it's dreaming? And what could possibly happen if it does? All right, so I've had a sense that the dreaming, seemingly, because it can't become the body, but it becomes identified as the body, yeah? And now suddenly the dreaming forgets, see, in time, that it's the dreaming, and starts remembering the dreaming from the dream, and then the dreaming seems as real could be. Because once you crown one aspect of the dream as real, it crowns everything in the dream as real. Yes? I would use that, I like that statement. And then if you really want to have a peaceful feeling of relaxation, if you've been on any spiritual journeys, another statement in the Course, hey, you and I are the dreaming. We're going to dream ourselves out of the dreaming. I hope today is a capturing of that statement. And as we do, as we dream ourselves out of the dreaming, which means to me, it's using the dreaming to dream itself out of dreaming. This would be an event in dreaming, a satsang. So it's using the satsang to dream itself out of the dreaming. And as it does, the dream will get happier. It doesn't mean it's going to be an eternal happiness dream, because the dream is of time. It's going to end, yes? But it will be happier as it goes. And I have to admit, tell you the truth, in my own observation of the years I've been living, that phrase coins it pretty well, yeah? The dream gets happier. I don't mean, I like more content. Happier is a little weird to me. But there's more of a peace and a contentment and an acceptance in the dreaming. And therefore the dreaming looks happier, because I'm the one that's giving the dreaming all the meaning it has. So when this changes, then the dreaming that was looking as like a nightmare can have a lot of beautiful spots in it, yeah? A lot of beauty. That's the funny thing. You can hear the worst news, and you look outside the tree, see a tree, and the tree hasn't been affected at all by all the shenanigans, has it really? It's a beautiful, it's just a beautiful, just fucking unbelievable. Even, the worst news, and then just look out, what? It seems so contrasting. It blows my mind, So, maybe that's a book we should do. A collection of sayings, only with like 5 sayings. We'd have to fill it so it would sell for 15. So a lot of pictures and shit, but basically 5 things, And let's say, hey, and don't jump ahead either. Just start the first one. Whatever can be perceived can be perceived. That throws us all off the game board. Yeah? We're all negated right there. That should do it, really. But if that doesn't do it, you follow it up with a couple more body punches, and then hopefully no mas. That's what we say at the end. I surrender. Now, surrender is a trippy thing, because if you hear, it's on a lot of levels, surrender has different interpretations. On the absolute level of, like Ramana Maharshi's one take of it is, to whom are you going to surrender, and who's going to surrender and to whom? So there's no surrender, obviously, because there aren't any people. So, but on other levels, surrender for the action figure is a pretty high level. It is a pretty damn high level. And then if the surrender shifts into surrendered, that's a nice traveling. Then you're on like the cruise control of an old Cadillac. You don't have to be doing this. You're pretty good. It's a sound little vehicle for the action figure. So, I do the best I can to put this out as clear as I can. And I know it's always going to be neutered every time it's heard, but it comes out of my jurisdiction. It's over after it comes out. Whatever happens with it after you hear it is on you, in a sense. But I'm compelled to share it when I can, and sometimes, at least if there's a little modicum of interest, to hear it. I've been hired like a gunslinger at times, going to rehabs where no one wants to fucking hear it. It's sort of a weird, show to play. Basically, you want to say, fuck you, all of you. I don't want to be here either, but I'd rather have a little interest, a little curious. Sort of inspired. It's inspiring, you know what I mean? Because it's like being a door-to-door salesman, would you like to hear about non-duality? No. But we got a little time, so I'll give you this is an old one. I haven't remembered this in a while. With these old stories, I'm just trying to trigger something, yeah? And this is an old story about, I went to Turkey, yeah? I was going around the world. I went to Turkey, and we got out, we were outside near the Blue Mosque, and some guy with a very nice suit came up to us and said, hey, I'll show you around, yeah? So I said, okay, so it was me and my friend and a couple other people. So we were walking around, he takes us around, and very well spoken and stuff like that. Then he brings us to this brick building on a side door, he knocks on the door, and another guy that looks quite like him answers, and then we never see the first guy again. And we go in and it's a rug store, just a huge rug emporium. And so the guy says, oh, would you like some Turkish coffee or apple juice? And you go, yeah, I'll have some apple juice. And they sit you down, and then you never see that guy. And these other guys start bringing these rugs out, and they're throwing the rugs around, and the lights hitting. They're beautiful rugs. They're throwing it here and doing, and it's like a huge production. It's almost like Annie, the Broadway musical in a way. They're throwing it out, and you're sitting there for a couple hours, and they're talking to me, but I had incredible immunity to the whole thing because I didn't have a flaw. I didn't live anywhere. Yeah, I was traveling around the world. I didn't have a house, therefore I didn't have a flaw, and there was no need for a fucking rug. So no matter how incredible the advertisement was, I wasn't going to buy a rug. And they said, oh, we can fold it up and put it in your knapsack. I'm not going to Thailand with a rug in my knapsack. You know what I mean? So no matter how beautiful it is, there's an immunity. I'm not buying a rug. There's no way. And this is a similar thing with the message. The message can get such a hold that you won't be buying the advertising. You won't. The advertising is going to come, but you won't buy the advertising. That's the freaking key. Yeah. Everyone hopes that the advertising stops. It doesn't. Yeah, the head is doing what it does, just like the heart's doing what it does, and just like the circulation system's doing what it's done. It wants to present a narrative here, and it's based on being a body. There's nothing right or wrong with it, but for a lot of bodies, it doesn't seem to be working that well, so they start trying to look for relief. And some, unfortunately, go down the spiritual path. But the thing is, what really wants to get out of the body experience is the body identification. This is a dilemma. It's like a car wanting to get out of the car. It's not going to happen. If you finally see you're not the car and a passenger, then the possibility of getting out is available. But if you keep seeing the car as a car and you have a huge desire to get out of it, good luck. You're not going anywhere. Now, how many times will it take? This should be a little riddle. How many times does it take for a car to attempt to get out of a car to finally realize you can't get out of the car? I don't know. The car would probably do it faster than we do. Let's say you've tried 8,000 times, 7,000, Julian 20,000, so me 15,000. When is it going to dawn on us? I don't know, maybe today? Why not? Why not today? Yeah? You've heard the message. Let's have faith in it. See, hey, if it's gonna grab a foothold, there's no you can stop it. You cannot obscure what you are from what you are. It's impossible. We're in cahoots with it. We're dreaming, and maybe just now you're open for the dream to take a different turn. Yeah? You may. You never know. You may be pregnantly waiting to hear this possibility, to give yourself permission to be okay without any fucking requirements. Yeah? To start out as what you're looking for. To have the ability to enjoy peace and serenity. Yes? To feel like you're enough. Yes? And have it solid and stabilized, not based on tons of people saying, you're enough, you're enough. No, an echo in your own little amphitheater, so to speak, yes? And then see what happens. And if it seems to be a lot bigger, better upgrade, then why not continue subscribing? This subscription's unbelievable, because there's no fine print. There isn't. There's no penalties. You can do whatever you fucking want to do if you're accountable for it. And yet, it will allow you would have traveled freaking lighter in a place that you could travel really heavy in. I mean, who wouldn't want to have that part of, you know, if you went into a cruise, all right, do you want the heavy cruise or the light cruise? Most people would take the light cruise, obviously, yeah? But the problem is with the light cruise, you can't go on the cruise. See? That's the dilemma. We want to go on the light cruise to have the experience of the light cruise. That's what makes the heavy cruise. Really, it's the same fucking cruise. It's the passenger that makes it heavy or light. There aren't heavy light cruises. It's the passenger, and we're the passenger. Yes. All right, well, that's it for this second. And then we come back, take a little break, yeah? Do some conscious consumption, maybe, yoga, asanas. You never know. You never know. All right, so what time is it now? And then we can come back.
Quarter after 2.
10 after 2, so about 3. You want to come back in 15 minutes?